Maxime is wondering who the LPs of FJ Labs are. Now, what's interesting is it was really hard for us to raise money. So one of the things I decided to try in 2013, so when I left OLX in 2013, I already had made over 100 investments. Many of them have exited. I'd like already at over 60% net realized IRR. I was already very successful. And so I thought, okay, maybe if I wanted to launch a venture fund, it's not going to be all that hard. The thing is, what had made me successful is a very unique approach to investing, which is only in marketplaces because I love them and I understand them, and with a decision cadence that was really quick. Like at that time, it was one meeting of 1 hour. We decide yes or no. Now we have a team, and so often the deals are filtered, and so I only see them on the second call. So it's 2 1-hour meetings, and then we decide. But it's still in a 1 week period, you can get a decision of whether we invest or not. And so when I went to institutional investors and I told them, look, Jose and I, my partner, we invest in every geography, in every stage, in 2-hour basis with very limited due diligence, are basically using our assessment of what a good business, a good entrepreneur, and a good deal terms are, following our thesis. And we've been really successful. Would you want to invest in us? And the answer was no. And they were really scared. Not sure what the language limitations are on these platforms. But they thought that was really scary, ran away in the other direction as fast as they could. And so we were not able to raise money because they had these checklists. They wanted their GPs or the managers of their funds to only invest in a certain geography, in a certain stage, to do extensive due diligence, to be on the board, a strategy and a philosophy completely different from the one we had. So it didn't really raise any external money, and so mostly deployed our own capital. And for the longest part, it looked as though we were not going to build a venture fund. Then this Norwegian telecom player called Telenor, they're a large telco player, they had actually in a way interacted with me because they backed my biggest competitor, Schibsted, to compete with me while I was running OLX. And then we fought a big war. OLX kind of won. We merged 51-49 for us, and they had 25% of the 49. So they made hundreds of millions in the deal. Later, we bought them out completely, I think like for something like 400 million in cash, and like they ended up being the full owners of a few marketplaces in like Malaysia and a few other countries. And so all of a sudden they were owners of marketplace companies, and they wanted to understand what the trends were in marketplaces in the US to either bring them to countries like Malaysia, Pakistan, etc., Myanmar, or to defend against this disruption. And so they reached out, and of course we had a pre-existing relationship, and it took a long time. I mean, these are large $50 billion companies with slow-moving processes, and I can credit my partner Jose for having the patience to come up with a deal structure for them. And we did our first fund in 2016, which was a $50 million of external capital fund with them, which we deployed over the next 2 years, and actually has done really, really, really well. And I guess seeing that, a number of other strategics saw that maybe having a looking glass into the US and understanding what the future of marketplaces is from the US could help them either find companies they would want to acquire or ideas they would want to adapt or for their markets. So we ended up having, for a second fund, which is 175 million, which closed earlier this year, a number of other strategics interested in marketplaces come in. I don't know what I'm legally allowed to disclose or not. I'm not the guy who deals with, as you can imagine, legal stuff. So I can't disclose the LP names, but like strategics interested in the marketplace space, and then a few family offices who were both interested in our returns. We've had a 62% net realized IRR since we started investing 22 years ago, but also interested in, I guess they come from old school companies that were being disrupted by online marketplaces and wanted to understand who they could buy and where the trends were so they could adjust to them. And but total, we have less than 25 LPs for the 175 million, and that's not including the capital we deploy. Give you a sense of scale. To date, we've deployed about 270 million, and probably over 100 million, probably over 120 million of that is our own personal capital. So it's still kind of a hybrid family office venture fund, but hopefully as we're becoming more credible, people will want to back us and invest in us. And well, we will still be deploying our own personal capital. I have maybe a little bit more capital to play with. That said, we'll never raise massive multi-billion-dollar funds. I guess maybe never say never, but most likely not, because our strategy is to be a small co-investor with the larger funds. I don't see myself as a competitor of Benchmark, Sequoia, Greylock, First Round. We're their friends. We are the value-added marketplace thinkers who can be very helpful in thinking through the dynamics, helping the founders, and we are not competing with them for allocation. If they're writing a $5 million check, we'll write a $500K check. If they're writing a $20 million check, we'll write a $2 million check. But never, they're not our competitors, they're our friends. And we don't want to change that, and that probably means we can't be raising multi-billion-dollar funds. And so hopefully the next fund will be, or the next funds, maybe we have an early and late stage fund, there'll be a 300-400 million, but probably not more than that.